Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be doing my top 10 players for VCT Masters Madrid. These are going to be the 10 players that I think will look the best at this event. Not necessarily the 10 best players from kickoff or I don't know. It's going to be the players that will look the best at this event. So that will include teams that are going deep. So I'm not going to have multiple players on FPX, for example, because I don't think they're going to win a game at this event probably. They can probably win maps, but games, I don't know about that. But yeah, overall, that's going to be kind of my thought process. So if there's anybody that you think is like way too high for how good of a player they are, it's probably because I just think their team is going to go deep in the tournament. But before we get into it, I do have one announcement I want to make. I will be starting a podcast with a few of my friends. It's going to be like a Plat Chat style podcast. We have like 5 of us, and we're going to kind of try to rotate like every episode, depending on how often we're making episodes. I don't know how often we will. But yeah, we're just going to be talking about general Valorant news, all that kind of stuff. We're going to be starting our first episode on Sunday, which is the day after this video comes out, I believe. And we'll be doing our top 10 players, or like a cumulative top 10 players. Where like we all 5 made lists, and we're going to like combine them into one. We're also going to be doing our power rankings and our pick'ems for Madrid. Obviously, the pick'ems are kind of straightforward, and I'll get to that in my video. But yeah, other than that, leave a like, subscribe if you enjoy, all that kind of stuff. I'm going to have my pick'ems coming out for Masters Madrid. I'll be doing game-by-game picks on my Twitter, so go check that out. Like, after the first round, then I'll do, like, the first round of Swiss, like, you see here. Like, after these games, I'll be doing my picks over on Twitter and tracking how well I do in those. So go check those out. And yeah, I don't think I have too much else to say, but yeah, leave a like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Really helps me out. And yeah, let's get right into it. So our first player here at number 10 is going to be Kangkang from Gen G. Now this guy, he was completely unknown coming into the year. He was literally just a ranked player that tried out for this team. And I was fairly skeptical coming into the year of somebody that I'd never heard of. I don't think he even had a match on VLR, or if he did, it was like a couple of matches that didn't have VODs or whatever. So there was a lot of skepticism surrounding him. But once he came in, I forget the Convergence, I believe, invitational that they played in the offseason, he looked incredible at that tournament. I had some high hopes for him coming into this year, and my God, did he deliver. He looks like the best smokes player in Pacific right now. I think I have him ranked a little bit lower than that just because it was one event. But I think there's very real potential for him to get up into that like top tier of smokes players with Mako, Scary, all that kind of stuff in Pacific. And yeah, I think this guy has an absurdly high ceiling. If Gen G does well at this tournament, he will be the like pivotal turning point. But honestly, I have the most confidence out of any of like the 3 like big pop-off guys from Gen G, being Texture, him, and Meteor. I have the most confidence that he himself will be the one that is just going to be solid for like most of the tournament. Like I don't think he is going to fall off in form as much as I think maybe Texture will, maybe Meteor will. Maybe, I mean, Munchkin is probably the most likely out of their entire team, but yeah. I just think this team is insane. I think they'll do fairly well. I don't know if they'll make it out of groups, but I think not Texture. We'll talk about Texture a little bit later. I'll tell you that. I think Kangkang will end up looking very, very, very good for this team. Next up here at number 9, we have Forsaken, who, I mean, obviously didn't have the best kickoff, in my opinion. I think he turned up a little bit in playoffs, but there were maps where he didn't play it as well. But I just have so much faith in him to get back as I do with this Paper X team. A lot of people are rating them in like the bottom 6, and it's going to be like, I feel like to me, this tournament is going to end up having Paper X placing relatively highly and people being like, why did we think they were going to place so low? It's literally Paper X. And then like, even though like they didn't look good at kickoff, I agree. I have too much faith in this team to not fix stuff and be better for the next or like the next part of the season, which in this case is Madrid. Obviously, they didn't look good at lock in last year either. Now, they did lose a lot earlier and were eliminated instantly. And I went way too far down the they're going to look bad at kickoff train. But I still think this team is going to go relatively deep. That's why I have Forsaken on here. He's going to be a big part of that. Just playing so many agents, having so much raw firepower, and yeah, just being an unreal player for this team. All right, next up here we have something, the other Paper X player on this list. I just think, again, kind of like I said with Forsaken, raw firepower plus I think the team's going to go deep, and the duelist player on that team is going to get set up pretty well. I just overall think something is one of the best players in the world. I don't think anybody disagrees with that. I think he'll continue to play like that at this event. Obviously, he didn't play great in kickoff. Like he wasn't what he was at champs or was what he was in the Pacific season um, in kickoff. But I think he'll kind of get back to that and play even better, maybe than he did at like champs per se. But yeah, obviously there are some doubts, but overall, I just think Paper X is going to go deep. Very similar logic to Forsaken, as I said. Now at number 7, we have Kangkang, who is someone that I feel like I have a lot more faith in than most do, along with just his team in general. I think I just have a lot more faith in EDG to be solid at an international level. I don't think they're going to be like winning the tournament or anything. I think they have the potential to, as they do for every tournament, but realistically, I just don't think it's going to happen. And yeah, I have more faith in EDG to set him up, even though the team hasn't looked the greatest at kickoff. I thought they looked fine for their standards, but I feel like if you're rating on them on their standards, you should still have them fairly high in power rankings. I don't know. That's just me. And even then, even if this team gets grouped, which I think they probably will, he's still a great entry player at an international level. Has really like cut down on like the overheating and all that kind of stuff. Like I don't think he's like as insane as he used to be, where like he would walk into B with a Marshall on Haven on his own on attack. And he's still just the best opper in the world. I don't think you can really debate that. And that's why I have him at number 7. I know this might be a little high for some people, might be a little low for some people as well, but I just think he's too good to not have him in the top 10. Then at number 6, I have Texture, who is a player that I've been following since 2021. I'm a huge fan of. Just an unbelievable all-around duelist player, and I don't know how he didn't get his first shot until now, pretty much. I just think he's an insane all-around duelist. He can play Jet at a high level. He can play Raze at a high level. His opping is really good. His entering is really good. He can clutch if he needs to. Like, I just don't think there's a ton of holes in this guy's game. I just don't know if this mechanical form will keep up into Madrid, and if the level of competition rising will make him look a little bit worse than it did in Pacific, because while I do think there's actually quite a bit of individual skill in Pacific, sometimes the setups and like being able to shut down other teams' duelist players will not be as great there as it is in other regions. So I just want to see him at the event. If he keeps up his form and looks any at all similar to how he did regionally, he will be the best player at this event, just straight up. And I think if Genji keep up their form as a team entirely, I think the same thing. I think they just win the event, which is extremely high praise for this team that kind of came out of nowhere. And yeah. Obviously, I don't think Genji is going to win this event. I don't think that's going to happen, any of that stuff. But if it does happen, then Texture will be the main catalyst in that. He will be the player that gets the most attention, that looks the best, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, he's unbelievable, but I do have some reservations with him. And then next up at number 5, I have Narrate, who I mean had an unbelievable kickoff, um, along with Carmine Core just as a team. Obviously, I am a little bit lower on Carmine Core, at least for this event at Madrid, due to concerns I've talked about in my power rankings video. So go check that out if you haven't seen that. But I mean, Narrate is fucking insane. He had some of the most absurd initiator stats I've ever seen. Obviously, don't know if that's necessarily gonna he's gonna necessarily keep that up against the best teams, but he'll be very good no matter what. Uh, I don't know. I just have a hard time believing he's gonna be bad at this event. Um, and I feel like he will be again, as I've said for multiple players so far, the main catalyst if Carmine Core does go deep. Um, I just have concerns about just general experience on this team, not even necessarily with him. I feel like he and Magnum are the most experienced players, but since Magnum's like IGLing for the first time, I don't really count him being super experienced anymore. Um, I mean, I'm not really familiar with what he did in CS, but he was pretty good in CS. I'm pretty sure he was. At least he played it. I know that. And yeah, I have a lot of confidence that he'll be good, even if Carmine Core doesn't look good, and that's why he is this high. Now, getting into the top 4 here, we have cauanzin, who I thought had an incredible kickoff. Just playing mainly Breach. He looks like the best Breach player in the world to me. I don't think it's particularly close either. Obviously, he's really only playing Breach for this team because that's all they're asking him to do. We know he can play other agents. We know he can play the Sky. We know he can play the Fade. We know he can play the Sova. It's just he's not asked to do it. Uh, I think he's incredible at all those agents. If Loud ends up switching some of their comps around, um, he'll still be fine no matter what. But I think he looks like pretty clearly the best initiator player in the world right now. Had a great champs, had a great just 2023 in general. Um, and yeah, I don't know. I have a very high confidence in both him and Loud. And even if Loud doesn't look great, I think he'll look great. Um, Obviously, he didn't have the best performance at Tokyo last year, but I think overall he was very good, and that was kind of just an off event for him. Um, Being able to pull out shit like this, which is still one of the most insane pro play clips I've ever seen. Um, I don't know. Obviously, there is a chance he looks bad if Loud doesn't look good, but I just don't think that's going to happen. I think Loud's going to go deep no matter what. I have the most faith in them to make it out of groups, I think. And overall, just an insane player. As I've said so many times in this list. I don't know. I just don't know what else I'm supposed to say. Just he is insane. And at number 3, we have Zekin, who I think this honestly might be low for some people. I'll spoil this a little bit. I was the only one that had him not at number 1 out of the 5 of us. And the thing is, I don't even feel the need to say, oh well, I don't even need to explain why. I have him number 3 because it's Zekin. He is the most complete duelist player in the world. I think the only slight concern you have about him is how good his opping is, and even then, it's not bad by any means. He's super vocal, does everything right as a duelist player. I don't know. He'll look very good because he's going to be on the team that I think that I have the most confidence in will go to the final. But I think there's going to be one more player that's more important for this team, and then one player who is just the GOAT of Valorant, in my opinion. So yeah, I don't know. I don't feel the need to talk about Zekin because everyone else will. And yeah, he's just so fucking good, dude. Then at number 2, the other player I was talking about for Sentinels, TenZ. I think if Sentinels is to go deep, it will be on the back of TenZ playing unbelievable Valorant. He is the most mechanically gifted player in the world. Um, like even better than Demon One, even better than anybody you can name. He has better like raw aim and mechanics and everything like that. Um, I don't know. I see like if Sentinels doesn't do well, he won't look good, and I think this is more of a risky pick than anything. But he is, yeah, he's just insane. I mean, as you can just see by these clips, honestly, I don't really need to tell anybody about TenZ or act like this is like a spicy take that TenZ is going to be good at this event because it's TenZ. Everybody knows who TenZ is. Everybody knows TenZ is playing really well right now. I just think this is higher than other people have him on these lists. And personally, I don't get how TenZ isn't this high. Um, like yeah, he has some moments where he trolls. He has some moments where he's not like the perfect player, but I really don't care about that. Then at number 1 here, we have, as I said, in my opinion, the GOAT of Valorant, Less. Um, I know that's not a popular opinion, but this is the second time I've had him number 1 in my top 10 lists. I had him number 1 for Tokyo, and I'm gonna have him number 1 here. I have him. I think I had him fairly high on my champs one as well. I think he was top 5 probably. Um, but he's just so consistently good at every event. Honestly, kickoff was probably his worst event since Copenhagen. And I don't think he played bad at all. I think people are really overselling how badly he played. Um, because I mean he didn't play bad. Like people are acting like he was like mid or whatever, and I just think he was still the best Sentinel player in the world. Like pretty clearly, especially with like Alfier, Sugetsu, and Nats not having the best tournaments in EMEA. Um, yeah, I just think he, I mean, is the GOAT. Super consistently good. I think he, no matter what, will be a top 5 player at this event. And I just think that floor is too good to not put him number 1. Like putting him number 1 won't look stupid after the event. I don't see a world where I look dumb for this after the event. Um, yeah, I just think he's been the best player on Loud since Champs 2022. I've recorded this part twice because I fucked up the first time. So I don't know if I said that already, but I think the only tournament where it's debatable, honestly, was lock in. And even then, I don't know if I would pick Ospas. If you count the VCT America's regular season, I think I'd take Ospas, but I think playoffs I'd take less. Or not Copenhagen. Tokyo I'd take less, and champs I'd take less. He's my goat. Not too much else to say about that. But yeah, with that, that's my top 10. I had Less number 1, TenZ number 2, Zekken number 3. Let me pull up the actual list. Zekken number 3, cauanzin 4, Narrate 5, Texture 6, Kangkang 7, Something 8, Forsaken 9, and Charon 10. And yeah, if you guys enjoyed, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Go check out the podcast. Link is in the description. Go follow me on Twitter. Link is in the description. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.